And good evening. Today is Thursday, September the 15th. This is PLAR History and Geography live right now, and I mean right now, here at Wausau in Silico. Again, my name is Jonathan, and I am your teacher for this course. We are at the end of week number 2, since today is Thursday, so week number 2. Remember, this is term 1A, and there's 9 weeks in this term, and that also means there are 7 more weeks after today. So week number 2 at the end. Hopefully we'll have a lot more students join us, calling in and listening. But just a reminder, feel free to call the Wausau studio if you want to call in and listen and participate. You can also call me and get in touch with me, your teacher Jonathan, during my office hours at any point during the day when I'm there. Just call the front desk or ask for Jonathan. Or if you're in town in Silico, stop by our office on Front Street next to the post office and swing by and say hello. My email is on there. Facebook, if you haven't already done so, again, add me as a friend on Facebook. I'd love to have more friends. And again, my YouTube channel on HisGeo Wausau has all of the pre-recorded lessons or recorded lessons there for you to watch again and again if you wish. Again, class, hopefully everyone will be joining us shortly. You do need your textbook. It's very handy that you have your textbook. Again, all of the contents is in your textbook. All of the answers are in your textbooks. By coming online and listening live in class, I will be also adding additional background content information. But again, all the answers that you need are in your textbook. You can always use other additional sources. I'm not going to stop you, but again, make note of that. But again, all you need is your textbook, all the answers in there. Your workbook has all of your assignments for history and geography, lesson 1 to lesson number 5. Again, your workbook has all of the questions and all your assignments. And again, all of the questions are exactly the same from last year. Nothing has changed. So if you are a returning student and you have already submitted work for me in the past, just continue where you left off. I'm not going to make anyone resubmit it or do it again. Just continue where you left off. If you're not sure, give me a shout. We'll figure it out, where you need to start from, and so forth. Smart Bridget. Again, if you have internet access, I know lots of the learning community or the learning center in your community has internet. Some don't, or some are not working the greatest. Again, if you do take advantage of it, log on to Smart Bridget, and you can see my screen with all the notes, slides, picture, what I'm highlighting, what I'm circling, and writing, and so forth. Any questions before we begin? I know we got Fourth Hope with us again. Hi there, Fourth Hope. It's Rebecca and Laura there from Fort Hope.
It's Isabel.
Isabel. Hi, Isabel. How are you today?
Hi. I'm good. I'm at home.
You're at home? Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's your last name, Isabel, so I can make note of that?
Boyce.
Boyce? With a B?
Mm-hmm. B-O-Y-C.
B-O-Y-C-E. Boyce. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isabel, for calling in from home in Fort Hope. Hopefully everything's going great there tonight. Which assignment are you currently working on right now? Or are you starting from the very beginning?
I'm starting from the beginning, and I'm just wondering how far you were.
How far am I? I'm actually not that far, to be honest. I am in the midst of starting our second slide on lesson number 2 on Canada and the First World War One or World War One. Do you need any help with assignment number 1? I can always go back and review content if that helps you.
No, I think I can probably answer the question.
Okay, great. Yeah, so right now I am just currently moving along with our notes and our slides and our lesson. Again, I'm not that far on Canada and the First World War between 1914 and 1918. But if you want, Isabel, again, just let me know if you have any questions in regards to assignment number one in Canada in the early 1900s. Again, all the answers are in your textbook. If you can't find the answers, let me know, and I can definitely point you to the page number. And if that still doesn't help, just let me know, and I can always help you in other ways as well. Does that make sense? Is that good, Isabel?
Yeah, that makes
Perfect.
sense.
Okay, good stuff. So, great. So I'm gonna continue where I left off from last class. Again, hopefully you can finish off assignment number one and then slowly work your way on to assignment number two. Again, I'm not that far in terms of assignment number two lesson, so hopefully you can still listen and participate that way. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Feel free to stop me at any point throughout the lesson. I do not mind. And I noticed that we got Marlene again online. What was that? Yeah, we got Marlene online, logged on to Smart Bridget in Bearskin. So thank you, Marlene. Hopefully Marlene is slowly working on her assignments and slowly submitted them to me as well. So are there any other questions before we begin today, class? Again, thank you so much for everyone joining us tonight. That's fantastic. Continue to do so. All right. So we are starting on page number 3 in terms of Canada and the First World War. We went over a bit of background content last class based on how the First War started, what were the factors, what were the influences, the cause of it. Again, there were not just one cause, but there were many causes. Who fought in it? Again, wasn't just two countries battling back and forth, but there were numerous countries involved as well. Keep in mind that we're focused on the year between 1914 and 1918. That's our main focus, but still looking at the early 1900s. So we're mainly going to continue today. We're going to look at Canada. What was Canada like during this time period? Canada's involvement, its influences, how it slowly progressed and changed over time, and its relationship with other countries around the world during this time period. And then at the end of this class, I will promise that I will go over questions on assignment number 2, and hopefully I can get some class time to work on that and to finish up assignment number 1 if you haven't already done so. And if there's still time, we'll start off the next section looking at Canada in the 1920s and the 1930s. Okay, so that's our focus for today over the next hour or so. So again, we finished off looking at how it started. I'll quickly go over that, the cause, who fought, and then we'll continue looking at Robert Borden, conscription, home front, the battles, the conclusion of World War One, and the outcome of all that chaos. So again, just a quick review. There are a lot of tensions and conflict going on during this time period in Europe. Again, everyone wanted to be the best. Everyone wanted bigger land, have more land, better resources, and so forth. That was the mindset of a lot of European countries. Some countries were bigger and stronger than others. So again, there was an unequal in terms of the balance of power. Again, how it started, I'm not going to really go over that. Map of who were involved. Again, the causes of World War One, again, like I mentioned, there wasn't just one cause. There are tons of factors and chain of events that played along. Again, factors such as militarism, again, building the biggest and strongest army, being more powerful and always trying to have the upper hand. Okay, it could be the Navy, the Army, the battles, technologies. Everyone wanted the best. Alliance, again, teaming up with one another, pretty much based on protection and security. Imperialism, oppressing influence and culture onto others, thinking that they are better than others, and as a result, they should start living like they are. And a sense of pride based on nationalism. Again, our country's better to theirs, their lifestyle, their background, language is much better. If you're not like us, then you think you're different. Again, that leads to dislike, hate, and even lots of racism. Again, all these factors play into a role, not just one, but lots. Again, who fought? This is pretty significant. Who fought in World War I? There were pretty much two main groups. They were known as the Central Powers, otherwise known as the Triple Alliance, which is Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy, and they fought up against the Triple Entente, otherwise known as the Allies, which consisted of Britain, France, Russia, and ourselves, Canada. Okay. Again, remember, during this time period, we were still considered under the British Empire influence. We were a colony of the British Empire, and as a result, we were a part of Britain, and whatever they did, we did. Again, that is all on page 3 in your textbook. Okay, so if you want to go back and see who fought and who were involved, that's page 3 on your textbook. Alright, so this is where we stopped last class, where we looked at Robert Borden. Again, Robert Borden, Mr. Borden over here, was Canada's Prime Minister during the First World War. He promised Britain support. Again, lots of Canadians during this time period, they were excited. And I mean excited, when I mean excited, they were excited that a war broke out. Again, there were not much excitement going on in Canada during this time period or even around the world. But again, lots of excitement. Canadians were excited at first. However, later on, not many Canadians were excited because a lot of casualties and a lot of people were dying. And as a result, that kind of put a scare on people. And as a result of that, not many people stepped up and supported or even volunteered later on. Mainly the English Canadian said yes, that we will help out, we will step up and help and volunteer. And again, French Canadians, they said no. They said no. Again, you can start to see that tension between English and French continue to grow even as we enter this period. Canadians stepping up. Again, there was never a doubt. There was never a doubt about whether or not Canada would be involved during the First World War. Again, Britain was involved. Boom, Canada was involved as well. Why? Because it's brought sense of commitment, sense of loyalty to the British Empire or Britain. But again, there's never a doubt about whether Canada would be involved. The question was, that I posed, was to what extent? How far would Canada go? To what extent? Well, again, some examples that I have listed on my screen. Again, this is not in your textbook, but again, just some background content. 21,000 on the day that Britain declared war, Canadians stepped up. 21,000 Canadians stepped up. A week later, 1 week into war, 100,000 stepped up and volunteered and decided to help out and fight. Again, why was there so many? Again, this was just exciting time. People were excited that there was a war going on. No one really knew what was actually going to happen, but when war was called upon, people stepped out. But again, no one fully understood what they were actually getting into. Like I mentioned, Europe had not had a major war in over a century. Versailles, Napoleon in 1815. There are other small conflicts within Europe before World War One, such as the Crimean War in the 1850s between Britain and Russia, but a major war like this has never happened before. So in a way, it was kind of exciting to some people, believe it or not. However, after about a few years and so forth, in 1916, that support and volunteer declined. It dropped. Again, people lost interest. People didn't want to leave their families, their jobs. People were afraid of dying. So that exciting time was no more. That dropped. So as that number of supporter dropped, something needed to be done. Something needed to be done. And what Mr. Robert Borden did was that he created a measure or act known as conscription. Conscription. So this is on the bottom of page 3 in your textbook. There will be a question on assignment 2 asking what is conscription. So I'm going to put a little star beside conscription to indicate that it is significant. Isabel in Fort Hope, are you still there with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you logged on onto Bridget?
No.
No? So you can't see any of my notes or my slides or my pictures on my screen, I guess?
No.
No. So
I
you
tried downloading the smart bridges, but it didn't want to go.
it didn't want to go.
Try again.
Okay. Yeah, I think you should
Try again.
try again for sure. If you can, great. If you can't, I guess that's okay. Guess you might need to go to your learning center in Fort Hope and get that sorted out, or use their laptop. But that's alright. At least you're online with us and listening. So does that make sense so far, Isabel? Am I going at a good pace? Does anything make sense? Is there anything that you want me to go over or not sure about?
No, I'm good.
Oh, good? Alright, so if you can try downloading or figuring out how to get Smart Bridget working on your computer or laptop, that would be great. Or get someone to help you with that if you can, but if not, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But conscription on the bottom of page number 3 is also put in bold words. So anything that's bolded or in capital in your textbook indicate that it is pretty significant, or that you will see that word or see that definition come up again within your assignment. So conscription, capital CONSCRIPTON, conscription. Again, that's on page number 3, and there will be a question asking about what is conscription on assignment number 2. So what is conscription? Since I emphasized it so many times, well, again, like I said, not many Canadians stepped up and helped out to go to war. So with conscription, it's kind of like a law in a way. It kind of forced Canadians to go to war. So with conscription, it forced young men ages between 14 and 44 to join war. They had to go. Okay, if you are a young man between ages 15 and 14, you had to go to war. Why? Because that was what was outlined in conscription. Okay. Again, a lot of French Canadians opposed this. They did not really show up when called upon or supported. But again, this was a very controversial issue still within Canadian history nowadays. Why? Again, it kind of forced individual young men to go to war. Even if they didn't want to go, they had to go. No choice. If you met the requirements, they had to go to war. So that was conscription, and that's why it was pretty significant and critical within our Canadian history, conscription. Again, forcing young men between ages 15 and 44 to go to war. They had to go, no choice. They just had to go. That was what conscription outlined it. Again, that is on page 3 in your textbook at their bottom. At the bottom. I think we got someone else that just called on, and it is, oh, it's still Fourth Hope. Okay, so Fourth Hope Learning Center has called in. Hi there, Fourth Hope Learning Center.
Hi.
Is this, let me guess, Rachel?
No.
Is it Lauren?
Laura.
Laura. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. Laura. I'm sorry. Laura, how are you today?
Good.
Good? Excellent. I noticed that you have sent in assignment number 1, and I have marked that for you. Did you see your mark for assignment 1 that I posted on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah? Perfect. So you did pretty well on it, so which is great stuff, which means that you're definitely on the right track. So just keep doing what you're doing for the rest of your assignment, and we should be good. Alrighty?
Okay.
Alright, so right now, again, I'm just continuing working on going over content on assignment number 2. Have you started assignment 2 yet?
No.
No? Okay, so hopefully you can start that right now or very soon, because we are discussing about it right now. So we just talked about conscription, which is on the very bottom of page number 3 in your textbook. And there will be a question on asking what is conscription on assignment 2. Again, that forces young men ages between 15 to 44 to join war. They had to go no matter what. If they met the requirement, they just had to go. Are you there by yourself, Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Where's Rachel tonight? You don't know?
No. Rachel who?
Rachel who?
Yeah.
Oh, Rachel. Well, Rachel was there.
Or Rachel.
You don't remember Rachel? Wasn't Rachel with you?
Rebecca, maybe?
Oh, Rebecca. Yes, Rebecca. I'm sorry. Yes, Rebecca. I get my name mixed up. Rebecca. Yeah. So where was Rebecca tonight?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her this evening.
Oh, okay. So just you tonight. Just you tonight. I'm gonna write this on my screen. Do you see that?
Not yet. It doesn't show right away when you write something on here.
No? How long does it take?
Maybe like a minute or something.
Oh, really? Wow. Do you see it? Do you see it now?
No, not yet.
Oh, God, I guess that hasn't been a minute yet. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's how it's always been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
It just finally changed to home front.
Okay. But you haven't seen what I wrote on it?
No.
No, it hasn't loaded? Okay. But you do see it says home front, right? You see that, home front?
It says hi, L.
That's it? What? You
It says hi and L.
Do you see that now? Well, let's wait a minute and see if you can see that. I'm learning just as much as you are right now, Laura.
There it says my name now.
All right, perfect. Good stuff. All right, we're on track right now. Good stuff. Awesome. So again, if Laura or anyone else, such as Marlene, wants to write something on their smartboard screen, all you have to do is go to the top, I believe. Somehow gain control of my screen somehow. Not exactly sure how you do that, but gain control of my screen. Then at the very top of these buttons right here, you can click on the marker button. You can pick a color, and then you can just simply start writing using either your mouse, I believe, unless you have another device that you can use. But that's how you can write something if you want to use that. as well. All right, Laura, good stuff. All right. So, any questions, Laura? Everything makes sense so far in terms of what we're talking about?
Mm,
Any questions?
yeah.
Anything?
No.
No? Anything you want me to go over? Anything you're not sure of? Or if you're lost? If you're lost, let me know. I don't want you to be lost or confused, Laura.
No.
No, you're okay? So you did assignment 1. So that's check. Good stuff. That's done. I posted your mark on your Facebook page. If you can't see that, let me know and I can send it to you again. Or talk to your DC. I sent it to your DC as well. Okay?
I got the paper.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so you're definitely doing extremely well, Laura. So hopefully you can.
Yeah.
You're doing extremely well, Laura. You're doing good. You're doing good. And hopefully you can continue working on assignment 2, and then hopefully we'll finish off these assignments, and then get to finish off in terms of PLAR history and geography. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
All right. All right. So next topic we're going to talk about, class, is home front, as you can see on my screen. As our next topic that we're going to discuss, let's talk about, look at what is actually home front. So home front is basically within Canada, what Canadians did here at home within our land. Um, any individual or person that did not go overseas and fight, they were considered part of the home front. Why? Because they helped out not by fighting overseas in those battles, but they helped produce key items, such as food, weapons, clothes, medical supplies, and other factors and items as well. But they helped out by working. So that could include all women at all ages who did not go overseas and fight or did not go overseas. It also included men that were not qualified for military service. So if they were too young or too old or sick or weak or who couldn't go overseas and fight, they were part of the home front as well. Children, yes, even kids were a part of the home front too. So basically, home fronts are civilian activities during war. The civilian efforts and activities at home support overseas during the war. It could be care package. Youth got involved in social clubs and organizations. They even discussed in schools and churches and even at home. So everyone know that war is happening. They know what was happening. They know what it was like, even though they were not actually a part of it. But they all helped out in the way by working hard, making extra food supplies, making extra weapons, clothing, medical supplies that they can send off to the troops overseas. So again, that includes everyone, women of all ages, men that were not qualified, and even children. Even children. All right, battles. This is key. You'll see this on your assignment. Battles. What page is that on? That was on page 4. Page 4 in your textbook. So class, if you want, if you have your textbook, you can turn to page number 4 in your textbook, where it says Canadian or Canada's military role in World War I. So we're going to talk about some battles that were key during World War I, that Canadians fought in it and why it was significant, and so forth. So we're going to talk about 2 key battles. The Battle of Ypres and the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Okay. So I'm going to circle Ypres. That was key. So the Battle of Ypres, capital Y-P-R-E-S, took place in France in 1915. Why was this battle significant? Well, this was the first time ever where German troops used a brand new deadly weapon called chlorine gas, okay, or mustard gas. Okay, chlorine gas. This was the first time ever that German troops used this kind of weapon, chlorine gas. Why was chlorine gas significant? Because it's basically this greenish, yellowish cloud of gas that was poisonous, that made soldiers who inhaled it breathe, gag, choked, and eventually died. So again, it burned their eyes, nose, lungs, basically suffocated, and eventually died. So that's why the Battle of the Ypres was significant, as this chlorine gas was the first time used ever. Again, Canadian troops, a lot of them were caught off guard about this new weapon or new tactics that was used. Over 5,000 Canadians died in this Battle of the Ypres. So that's why that battle was pretty significant, the Battle of the Ypres. Second battle, the Battle of Vimy Ridge, capital V-I-M-Y, capital R-I-D-G-E, Vimy Ridge. Vimy Ridge. Again, why was Battle of Vimy Ridge significant? Well, it was the first time where Canadian soldiers fought extremely well, and we actually won. First ever military victory. Okay, this was the first battle we actually won, and as a result of this battle and victory, we were awarded the 4 Victoria Crosses. Okay, so that is why the Battle of Vimy Ridge is significant. We won this battle. We won this battle. So in your textbook, it talks about these two battles, Battle of the Ypres and the Battle of Vimy Ridge. However, during World War I, there are other key battles as well. The textbook doesn't talk about it, but there's Battle of Somme and the Battle of Passchendaele. Some of these you may have heard of. There are movies made out of them. If we were in class live, I would play these movies, but we can't. So the Battle of Somme and the Battle of Passchendaele. Again, other key battles as well. So, okay, but again, the text doesn't talk about these battles, but these are other battles that took place as well. Why was the Battle of Somme significant? Well, it was the first time Britain used tanks. Again, new technologies. Again, by using tanks, again, you can plow through barbed wires and other barriers, but I think got stuck in mud and all that. And in the Battle of Passchendaele, about 16,000 Canadians died, lost their lives. Huge amount in terms of Battle of Passchendaele. But the two key battles that I want the class to focus on is the Battle of Vimy Ridge and the Battle of Ypres. So note these two names and why they are significant. What stood out about them, alright? Any questions about battles? Again, other background content that I have included were what were the battles like. Again, they were not fun. It sounds fun, but it definitely is not fun. They lived in something known as trenches or trench warfare. They often lived, stayed, even in wintertime. These were basically their home throughout these battles. They ate, they slept, they fought in these trenches. It's pretty much like a little ditch that they lived in. They ate corned beef, bread, tea, nothing that was really delicious. These ditches or these trenches that they were called, they're often 2 meters deep, often with sandbags. Again, not that deep as well. They often climb in and out of these trenches to fight here and there. When they're not in these trenches, in this open field, this was known as no man's land, whereas no one actually controlled this land, and they were often really killed super easily. That's why they should stay in their trenches. Battles, bullets everywhere, guns, people shooting back and forth, tons of barbed wire set up everywhere. There are lots of rain, so when rain took place, it was really wet, cold, and muddy. Again, as a result of that, diseases took place such as body lice. Rats came and started biting and eating everything. And yeah, it was definitely not fun and a lot of miserable. Again, battles did not just take place on the land, but also fought in the air as well, such as planes and so forth, and even on seas, such as navies and submarine took place as well. So again, a little snapshot of what the battles were like in terms of trench warfare. Income war tax. Again, this is another question that you'll see based on income war tax and what that is. And that is on page number 5 in your textbook. Page number 5. So what is income war tax? Well, I think everyone has a good general guess of what income war tax is. Basically paying taxes. Simple as that, paying taxes. But more specifically, income war tax is basically paying taxes or helping out. As we all know, going to war is not cheap. It is expensive based on technology, all these weapons, sending soldiers back and forth. It was not cheap. So income war tax was simply calling on wealthy Canadians, yes, all you wealthy Canadians, to help make a contribution on the war efforts. Basically, again, helping fund the high cost of war. It was designed to be temporary. Okay, it wasn't supposed to last that long, but eventually lasted. So in 1916, income war tax were basically a federal tax on businesses. They were called upon to help out. But a year later, in 1917, this was known as personal income tax. Okay, personal income tax. Again, this personal income tax, where individual paid taxes to help fund the war, was designed to be temporary. Okay, wasn't meant to last. However, as we know today, this is known as income tax. So all you out there who pay income tax, you can pretty much blame World War One, the government there, Robert Borden and so forth, for creating income war tax. Again, it wasn't supposed to last, but it stayed. So income tax we have today pretty much came out because of this. Again, going to war is not cheap, and we needed Canadians. We needed someone to help out. Again, it went through a good cause, but it wasn't supposed to last. But look at us today. It's still there. The conclusion of the First World War. So what happened? What happened? So we gave a lot of content, a lot of details, but what actually happened? What concluded? Well, Canada, us, the Allies, the Triple Entente, so Britain, France, we won. We won. So we won World War One. We defeated Germany and the Triple Alliance, or Essential Powers. They were defeated, and that officially ended on November 11th, 1918, otherwise known as Remembrance Day here in Canada. That's why we have Remembrance Day here in Canada, as we take a moment on our day, especially on the 11th month, the 11th day, the 11th hour, and the 11th minute. We stop to reflect and thank all those who fought and served for our country, not just in World War One, but it could also include the Second World War and other battles such as the Vietnam War, the Korean War, and other battles that took place throughout history. Hence why we have Remembrance Day. Again, Canada won, Britain won, the Allies won, and officially ended on November 11th, 1918. So after we won, what happened? What happened? So again, this is on page 5 in your textbook at the bottom, where it says after the war. Page 5 in your textbook after the war. So after the conclusion of the First World War, a treaty was signed. Not a law, but a treaty. What is a treaty? Basically an agreement between two sides or two parties. And this was known as the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles. It was signed on June 28th, 1919. And within this treaty, it has something known as the guilt cause. The guilt cause. Okay, the guilt cause. So what was the guilt cause? Well, it simply point the finger or blame Germany, hey you Germany, for causing the war. It blamed them for causing the war and causing all that chaos. It imposed a heavy penalty on Germany. It pretty much made them have to pay for damages that they caused or took place during World War One. Germany pretty much had to give back all the land that they conquered or acquired within this time period. So in reality, Germany as a nation in size, they shrunk and went smaller. And it also allowed troops from other countries to stay in Germany to oversee them. So pretty much the guilt cause simply just blamed Germany for causing the war, and they had to make up for it and give back what they conquered or acquired and so forth. That was the guilt cause, and that was a part in the Treaty of Versailles. Again, page 5 in our textbook at the bottom. So on my screen right now, class, you'll see a little map of Europe, similar to a map of what we have today. So you can picture a map of Europe and all the countries. So again, you can note that Germany is now much smaller. Okay, and because of that, other nations emerge, such as Poland, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and so forth emerge. So they went smaller in size. What also happened after the First War was something known as the League of Nations. What was the League of Nations? Fancy, cool name, League of Nations. Well, after the First World War, numerous countries got together. Not just one, not just two, but lots of countries came together and formed something known as the League of Nations. So the goal was the League of Nations was simply to prevent future wars, help settle disputes through negotiation. So World War One just took place, and it was not fun. A lot of casualties, a lot of people died, a lot of damages. Like so as a result, we don't want to see this again. We don't want to see this again. So that was the goal of the League of Nations, where people or countries will come together. If something was not right or something was bothering them, they would come together and they would just talk it out. They would just talk it out and come to an agreement on how to fix that problem. Now that was the goal of the League of Nations. We don't want just like, hey, we want to declare war on you. We don't want that to happen anymore. So that was the goal of the League of Nations. So the legacy, or Canada's legacy, that I summarized in World War One was that there were at first unprecedented volunteer support. Unprecedented voluntary support. There were also unprecedented government involvement in Canadian lives. Yes, the Canadian government took control and they stepped up and got involved in Canadian lives. It also began the Canadian Social Welfare Program. Britain eventually realized that, hey, they actually need Canada. Canada was actually a big factor, and they start to realize that they need Canada. Canada signed the Treaty of Versailles as an independent nation, so we were a part of that agreement. World War One proves that Canada is a nation of the world, not just in a way a colony of the British Empire, but a nation on itself in a way of the world. In terms of overseas, Canadian soldier really represented Canada extremely well. And we made a huge contribution here on Canada, based on the home front, based on successful war efforts, and so forth. Again, a lot of good things came out, but not all were good. Again, there was still racial prejudice and targeting or terrorizing new Canadians, such as immigrants and others as well. So we talked about English Canadians and French Canadians. So where were First Nations Canadians or the indigenous population during this time period? Well, any status Indian could not join war. So if they were a certified or actual status Indian, they were not allowed to join war. Even though in 1917, when Canada needed more men, they finally allowed Aboriginal Canadians to be enlisted. So at first, like, nope, First Nations, status Indians, you cannot come and fight. But after, when they start realizing that not many people helped out and volunteer, Canada especially started needing Aboriginal people. However, their contribution to the war were ignored after the war. So this man right here, Francis Famega Bao, a famous Canadian sniper during the First World War. He was Indigenous, First Nations, very successful in his achievement, but his legacy, not many people know about him, and his legacy is really untold, even though he was very successful, and just because he was a status Indian, First Nation, or part of the indigenous population, they were simply ignored. So yes, First Nation indigenous helped out, but their contribution, we don't really hear about today, which is really unfortunate. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. So class, if you have your workbook in front of you, you can now turn to assignment number 2. Assignment number 2 in your workbook. So I'll give our class a moment to turn to that. So as a moment, we're going to go over these questions to make sure that everyone's on the right page and know what each question is asking and their significance. So assignment number 2 is slightly a bigger assignment compared to assignment number 1, but not a huge assignment. Assignment number 2 is out of 14 marks. 14 marks. Question 1 asks, what was conscription? Okay, what was conscription? What was it? What was it? Okay, so again, detail, full, complete sentences. Details, complete sentences. Check for spelling, check for grammar, and all that. Again, if you're not sure, just let me know. What was conscription? Tell me what it was. Basically, any young man between age 14 or 15 to 44, they had to go to war. They just had to. Question number 2. Provide the name and some details about each of the 2 battles mentioned in your textbook. Okay, so we're looking at battles. So I'm looking for the 2 names of the battles in your textbook that was talked about. Again, that was on page number 4, if you're still not sure. Hint, hint. Battle of Vimy Ridge. Hint, hint. The Battle of Ypres. Hint, hint. Okay, so name those 2 battles. Just simply state their name. And why was it significant? Or why was it important? Some details about these battles. Okay, each one. So basically a mark each for telling me the name of the battles, and another mark for telling me the details. So why was this significant? Why did that battle stand out? What was significant about it? And so forth. Okay? Again, that's all in your textbook on page number 4. Again, all these answers we talked about today in today's class. So again, if you're not sure, go back and look at your textbook. If you're still not sure, go back onto the archive page or to my YouTube channel and watch this lesson again. Or simply give me a shout. Call me, email me, Facebook me. Ask me. I can be more than like to help out. and so forth. Question number 3, describe income war tax. So again, what was income war tax? Again, explain it, tell me what it was. Okay, that's all it is. Question 4, what was the guilt cause? Okay, guilt cause, what was it? And what did Germany have to do after the war? Okay, so what was the guilt cause? And what did the guilt cause told Germany to do? What did Germany have to do after the war because of the guilt cause? Okay, note that that question is out 3 marks. Again, which means I'm kind of looking for more details. Okay, more details. That's all it is. And the last question, yes, the last question on assignment 2, describe the League of Nations. Okay, what was the League of Nations? Who signed it? Who were a part of it? And what was his purpose? In other words, what was his goal? What was the League of Nations designed to do? It was created after the First World War, but why? Who created it, and what was its goal? What did it want to prevent in the future? Okay, again, that is out of 3 marks as well. All right. So that right there, class, is assignment number 2. So you can work on that. Again, some of us have already finished this, which is great. So make sure you send that to me, and I'll mark that. Again, feel free to always go ahead. Okay, if you want to just zip through this course, you're more than welcome to. Just zip through it, send it to me when you're all done. I'll mark it. I'll send you a test if all is good, and boom, you'll get your credit for it. Okay, very, very simple. Very, very simple. Any questions, Isabel in Fort Hope? Any questions, Laura in Fort Hope as well? Any questions? Hopefully Laura is still there, and hopefully Isabel is still there with us.
There's only me and Laura here in Fort Hope.
Isabel and Laura?
Laura.
Laura. Just Laura there?
Yeah.
Yeah? I noticed that, well, Isabel was calling from home. I noticed that she tried to log on to Bridget's software, but she couldn't get it, but I know Laura is there at the Learning Center, which is great. I know that Isabel is supposedly at home. Whether or not she's still... What was that, sorry?
Can she talk? No, I was like, can she talk? I said, this, what do you call it? Can she hear from home?
Yeah, I was definitely talking to Isabel earlier, but whether or not she is still at home or listening was another question, but that's all right. But does everything make sense, Laura? Any questions? Any comment? Anything not sure of? Anything you want to ask or want me to check or go over?
Wait. No.
No? Well, that's okay. All right. Well, you definitely know where to find me, Laura, if you have any questions. Again, just simply send me a message on Facebook if you have any questions, or email me, or again, continue to come to class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we can always help you there. Again, we're just going to continue going through our timeline. So next week, class, week number 3, I'm going to talk about Canada in the 1920s. Very interesting time. What Canada was like in the 1930s, also a dark period of time. And then I think a week from today, we'll start looking at Canada and the Second World War between 1939 and 1945. So that is our goal for next week in terms of week number 3 for this course. We will look at assignment number 3, assignment number 4, and then we'll just continue progressing as this course continues. All right. So again, hopefully Isabel is somewhere still there with us. Laura, if you know Isabel, tell her to add me as a friend on Facebook.
Okay, if she doesn't hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Awesome. Any other last comment, Laura, before we call it a night? Again, thank you so much for coming online and coming to your learning center and listening. Hopefully, Rebecca, right? Rebecca
Yeah.
can come join us again next week. Again, I know that Laura, yourself, and Rebecca has submitted work, so you guys are active, which is fantastic. So again, continue to work on this assignment, okay? So hopefully I will see assignment 2 done by you ASAP, okay? I look forward to it.
Okay.
All right? All right, class. Thank you so much. Again, if you have any questions, get a hold of me. This has been fun. This has been great. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see everyone next week again. All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye, Laura. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night.